It's WrestleQuest back with another one, guys. Hit the buttons, hit the comment section. The Renegade. I'm happy I just saw that his story is going to be told or has been told on Dark Side of the Ring. If the episode has already aired, I don't believe it has, as there's a short going around from Vice, Dark Side of the Ring, in the blogosphere on this platform, YouTube right here. And what a sad, tragic story it is. I don't know why, as a pro wrestling fan over the years, the story always caught my attention. I remember once on Twitter, Diamond Dale's page used to get on there back 2015, 2016, somewhere in that time frame. And hey, I'm answering questions, hit me up. And I just asked him about working with the Renegade, as he dropped the TV title to DDP, I think, or DDP beat him after he had lost it. And DDP had it on an episode of Nitro, one of the earlier episodes. And he was like, yo, he was a good dude, man. He really was a good guy. And it was just, wow, like never has someone gone from the top of the card, brought in just top of the business, cashing them big checks. And that's something with WCW. We know these guys were paid well, less dates and such, guaranteed money. I don't know what kind of money the Renegade was making, but he actually stayed with the company for a long time. Like we said, never, you're at the top of the card. Ultimate Warrior starts trashing him in magazines somewhere in the pro wrestling media, the magazine era back in the day, and his push is taken right from him. He loses the TV title. It just essentially, I think the way Arn Anderson put it in an interview out there, was like went off a cliff. That was it for him. But he was with WCW for quite some time, even losing to Goldberg. Like if you pay attention to some of the different images on here, GIFs and such, you'll see he was with position with Hogan. He was he's in the ring, laying out Vader and Ric Flair. Like that's a big deal for someone to come into pro wrestling and get that kind of action and booking and such. And it's interesting too, there's a story or a channel out here, I'm sure the video still exists, covering the Renegade. I never knew. I thought he was just a guy, the way they made it sound like he was someone who was in the like gym community. Someone knew him. They said he was like a male stripper, pause. And when they wanted to do something with the Ultimate Warrior being out of the business, hey, we'll bring him in. Fair enough, though, to say, if you go watch that footage where Hogan is talking about the ultimate surprise and the Renegade's in the background with the mist and smoke or whatever around him, he does say it's not the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know if that was a legal maneuver or whatever, because we know Warrior is definitely someone who would love to sue somebody. R.I.P. to him as well, but the Warrior was how the Warrior was. A bit of a prick, some would say. I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but he hated it that they were using the Renegade in the way in which they were. But back to what I was saying about him being pulled from the main event picture and sliding down the card with the quickness. He was with the company for a very long time, and I think one of his last times working with WCW, how ironic is this, is they used him as a stunt double or whatever you want to call it when they were doing the trapdoor, he disappears and reappears Ultimate Warrior spots, and they needed a lookalike to, how he teleported from here to there and such. It was the Renegade. So how crazy is that they came face to face in WCW and used him as a stunt double? That's wild. But like I was saying, I always heard the story like he was just a guy that was like a male stripper, hit the gym all the time. Maybe someone from the business knew him. Hey, I know this guy that looks like the Warrior. Let's bring him in. Let's do something. Let's tell a story. Let's do business with him. Let's get him in here, talk to him. But there's a channel out here that actually covers the dude's career. He did some other pro wrestling. I believe it was like overseas and such. And it almost kind of is like a variation of the Renegade character in a way. Like some of the same mannerisms and all that. Comment if you've seen that and if you're aware that he did more wrestling than WCW. But I'm just glad that his story is getting told. And, you know, like, I don't know if they go more into what exactly happened with him unaliving himself. Unfortunately, from my understanding, that's what happened. But and I have a friend out here too who's a big YouTuber. He has a graveyard channel, Lamont at Large. Comment if you're aware of him. He actually went to the Renegade's gravesite in Georgia, I believe it is. So go check that out if you haven't seen it. But I'm just happy to see the guy's story, his legacy, live on a bit more and be told to in today's day and age. Again, it always interested me because you guys remember all the folklore and stuff back in the day, like I was talking about, magazine era, pre-internet. It was nothing like it is these days, and there was always all these rumors about the Ultimate Warrior. Oh, there was two Ultimate Warriors. Oh, Kerry Von Erich played the Ultimate Warrior at one point in time. Oh, that wasn't Warrior, that was someone else. When Warrior came back with a different physique, lost a lot of, I don't want to say muscle mass, but weight. He just wasn't as brolic as he was before. So the Renegade story tying into it all with the Ultimate Warrior just interested me for some reason. And, you know, I'm glad his story is hitting the small screen, television. But with all that being said, you know, it was a shame the way they did him. It was good. He still stuck around for a while and got to get some more paychecks. You know what I mean? Because it's like they could have had him drop the TV title and just pretty much release him right away, depending on what the specifics of his contract was. But they kept him around for quite some time. He may have even finished that deal out. But I wonder if that was almost like bittersweet for the Renegade, because you hear that and you're like, okay, you know, it's over for the guy, but at least he's still getting paid. But maybe him being around longer, like money isn't everything, the way things went could have actually been worse for him as a person emotionally and all that. And with all that being said, there's a match out there. I want to cover this in a separate video, maybe try to react to it or whatever a bit. Comment if you are aware of this match. It happened in 1995, and man, like, storylines are storylines. Pro wrestling is pro wrestling. But man, they buried this guy. Do you guys know this match where, by all people, he got, I don't know if you want to say squashed, but he lost in the middle of the ring to Kevin Sullivan. Had him in the tree of woe and all that. And Jimmy Hart turned on him, or had already turned on him at this time. But Jimmy Hart pours water all in his face, wipes the Renegade hour off, the makeup, all that, and is talking about he ain't no Renegade. He's just plain old Rick. And I mean, I get it. He fell. He fell on the card. The smoke and mirrors is gone. The Hellwig Warrior blew up the spot. But I mean, come on, man. You know, you got to go that far with it. Like, it just really seemed like an on-screen burial and humiliation. You know what I mean? I'm not one of them conspiracy theorist guys, but it's so brutal to watch. It's almost like a humiliation ritual, straight up. So, RIP to the Renegade, Rick Wilson, I believe his name was. Comment your thoughts about everything we touched on in this video, his career, and his story getting told on Dark Side of the Ring. Look forward to talking to you in the comments. Subscribe and come talk pro wrestle with me on the next one.